SwissBorg is the official partner of my channel where you can buy, sell, hold, and more importantly stake your cryptocurrencies. You can even earn yield on your stablecoins. Sign up with my link and you'll earn up to $100 worth of their native token CHSB just for depositing €50 worth of crypto. SwissBorg. Hello everybody, welcome back. I've not got my video on because it is freezing today. So I'm sat in this room dressed up like I look like a babushka. So there's no need to see that. There's no need to see that. So, and anyway, to be honest with you, there's no need to see my face for the most part anyway. I just heard that apparently it attracts more people to the channel. I fail to recognize that when I see my little face in the corner. I'm like, oof, oh, dear me. So today we'll just look at the charts, shall we? So Bitcoin did pretty well yesterday, continuing up to, well, I suppose this next level, this next range level. 200 exponential, 23,007. The 50 exponential, 25,123. That's reasonable to expect it to go up to that stage now. And again, you know, rather than looking at the daily, the weekly shows very much similar to the previous reads. You know, we were talking about bottoms forming ages ago based on money flow index divergence. There's a low, there's a higher low, printing the absolute low of the last bear market. Here's a low, here's a higher low, printing the absolute low of the liquidation event in March 2020. And here's a low, and this, you know, we had our eyes on this low for a long time, because we recognized that this was the lowest the money flow index had ever been on Bitcoin, outside of this one other incident on the Bitstamp chart, which is relevant, but it's you know it's a long time ago. So it's a long time ago before it was, you know, Bitcoin was heavily traded. And there we go. So we got that read again, and here's the divergence of the low, printing the absolute low. Again, hindsight is an amazing tool. So if we're thinking about where we're going to go from here, based on these kind of previous historical reads of the last cycle, so which, you know, this is the probably the more important cycle to focus on, because, you know, Bitcoin was, I remember this level down here, the total market cap of all of crypto, every last crypto ever, was sitting about 100 billion, which is obviously a lot of money, but by the time we reached the peak we were sitting at around just short of 3 trillion. And obviously the trading volume these days is just enormous on its own, but outside of that the total market cap is way bigger than it's ever been, even at the depths of this bear market. So this is one of the main reasons why I would always say to people, especially, you know, on this downtrend and stuff, people saying crypto's dead, can't you see? Regulators are going to destroy you. Ah, blah. All right, look, hang on a minute. Regulators are required. I'm sure we would invite regulators into our home to avoid Luna, to avoid FTX, to avoid any other thing that comes out of this market. Next, we all like a little bit of regulation if we have to put our hands on our hearts. It's still going to be a volatile asset class, and that's why we're still going to trade it. Anyway, the reason I was going to make this video today is, rather than going on about the same old, is that obviously Bitcoin looks good, and the next sort of major peak we'll be looking at previous peaks on weeklies. And so if this is the case, and if we have started a new bull market, and again I was very much in favour and still very much am in favour of the S&P breaking out at this stage now, not breaking out making a new all-time high, but breaking out of this descending triangle. So what we said on Friday, I said, look, I think we're going to go up. Everyone thinks we're going to go down. I think we're going to go up. People telling me that we're going to go down. You were wrong, man. Look, we might make a double bottom somewhere along the lines, but not now. Which is why I said, don't short this chart. Don't short this chart, and don't short the Bitcoin chart, because it's not what you think it is. And I think we're going to break out from here. So if that's the case, then traditional markets are going to act as a decent, I suppose, a decent foundation for crypto to continue to go up gently and aggressively. I know that sounds crazy. Gently for momentum on the weekly, aggressively on price action. But also, let's not fool ourselves. We could get stung at any point on altcoins, because altcoins emphasize the moves down at this stage more than up. The reason I say that is because the dominance chart, although being at a first level of potential rejection, it's not really responding to it at the moment. Again, it's very early days, to be honest with you. There are reads on a daily, similar to the one that we played around Christmas. We got a micro rotation. We got a decent little run from altcoins. We made some cash there. You know, we We did okay, but it wasn't this one, was it? That we did in the heat of the bear market. We did a great alt season there. I would be looking, especially with the way that crypto is moving at the moment, Bitcoin driving the market. I'll be looking for this to probably move up further. It doesn't mean that we can't get some form of reaction around here, and that's fine. Like if you're looking to buy into alts anyway. For a long-term position, I can't fault you for that, because if we think about where we are in this cycle, potentially being at the very beginning of it, you know, altcoins last time round, they did okay at the beginning of the cycle. Bitcoin more or less would have been the better place to be for the most part, right? For the most part, like crypto, you know, in the long run, by the time we reached our parabolic high, obviously altcoins for almost exclusively would have been the best place to be long term. But for the first couple of years, Bitcoin would have been the best place to be. And so that might end up being the case this time round. And so if you're in altcoins, you're going to have to be prepared for a bumpy ride. So the dominance chart not getting rejected at the moment. Again, it's very early days. So let's have a look at some of these major players. So we'll start with Ethereum. So what's Ethereum doing on a weekly? We're coming down to a 50 exponential, which is just above, just below this descending triangle. This could be seen as a breakout and a bullish retest, right? So this adds weight to a potential rejection on the dominance chart right now. These are the sort of things you get on formation breakouts. So there we go, up to the top, down to the bottom again, up to the top, breakout, retest, and then up to a measured move. So the measured move being 0.085 sats. So that would be technically just short of an all-time high. It would also be scraping this resistance over here from the all-time high on the Ethereum chart. And if that is the case, then we'll be looking for a move of, give or take, 21%. That feels a little alt-season-y, especially when we're talking about a Bitcoin pair. So whatever Bitcoin does, maybe Bitcoin stays static for a bit, maybe it creeps down a little bit, whatever it does, it might mean that Ethereum to Bitcoin creeps up to the tune of 20%. So small micro rotation, I suppose. Not enormous, incredible alt-season, but opportunity to stack some sats for those who've got some Bitcoins to play with, really. Because remember what I said before I went into these charts, Bitcoin, for the most part, for the first couple of years of the last cycle, was the best place to be if you're looking to buy and hold, really. But for in the grand scheme of things, altcoins ended up proving to be the best place generally. BNB, which was and still technically is the best chart in crypto. So all the way up, breakout from this level, went on to make a new all-time high in November. So in bear market territory, it actually outperformed Bitcoin massively. Then a little bit of FUD kicked in, and where are we now? We're down at the 50 exponential moving average on a weekly. Okay, so I suppose breaking down below here gets particularly nasty, and we could run all the way down to this level of support, which would probably be an area of interest for picking some up, and that's 0.0111. And that would be a 14% drop. But if we were to bounce from here, based on the way that we've reacted in the past, then we will be looking for this to actually have a serious run. So rather than trying to think about a measured move, we could think about it moving up to this area here where there was a fair bit of resistance. You can see that with the candle body opens and closes. That's about 30%. A new all-time high would be about 43%. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's what the chart would suggest. It's a buy the dip on this kind of area, isn't it? Right now, similar to that of Ethereum. And I don't know why I brought Chainlink up, to be honest with you, because previously in the last cycle it actually did pretty well. And I suppose we can look at this and overlay this, because this is what I've been saying on the channel. I bought Chainlink when we capitulated this time around in the first initial alt season that we got, the major alt season. And this was a dominance chart read that we got. It was also based on a few other things. So I'm still obviously up with my sats. And again, if we go back in time, we have a look at that. I'm on the wrong chart, on the wrong time frame. This is where we bought it from, around these levels when we were getting into June. It was around the 13th of June. I remember clearly because I remember having to go back and showing people the videos. I told you about alts. I told you. So yeah, I mean, technically we're still moving up, trending up, but obviously it looks like it wants to move back down. And where are we right now? An area of interest around 3,000 sats. And the thing to recognize, I suppose, about Chainlink, and the reason I quite like it, is that it did do a similar kind of thing before. So this is in the middle of a bear market here, and then it started to outperform Bitcoin, and then it continued to outperform Bitcoin until it reached an absolute peak in 2020. So the alt season didn't even happen at this point. This was its own cycle. It did its own thing, ran all the way up on its own, outperforming Bitcoin massively in a bear market and in a bull market, and actually peaked way before all the other alts. So if this sort of cycle runs again, then it gives us the opportunity to not just stack some sats, but outperform Bitcoin, running up into and maybe popping before an actual alt season takes place, where we can rotate for our profits from Chainlink into, you know, super baby Dogecoin, Elon furry face, you know, meme, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Where everything basically just runs because it's got crypto attached to its name. So it looks quite good in that respect, as in it's sort of continuing to behave similar to its previous cycle, which was that formed a low in here, a significant low in a bear market, and then ran up throughout a bull market and popped on its own merit. The rest of the chart, obviously, on this weekly doesn't look very good at all. We're just down at a support. So there is, like I say, it's trying to anticipate what could be some alts running, if not from this level or from a little bit further down. These are the two to focus on because they take up the vast majority of the crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin. So let's focus on these, and I think Ethereum probably more than anything else, because it still is at least twice, maybe 3 times more market cap than BNB. But they both offer the same kind of opportunity, which is a little bit further down on its first pass for a decent bounce. Maybe then if that fails, then we come back down to this level and then ricochet back up from there. So alt seasons, you know, they're not quite this isn't quite ripe for an alt season. However, when the market moves like it is doing at the moment, the market will move as one. But there will come a point where Bitcoin sort of stops and then altcoins run on their own, and that is the alt season. That's normally determined by a Bitcoin dominance chart. So if we do get a rejection around here, which again, it doesn't look particularly like it wants to reject from this exact level, because we should have, if there was going to be a rejection, it would have happened around 44%. We are overheated on MFI, like what we've had in the past recently, where we did get a rejection. But this, when we came up to this level, and I did start talking about people going, "You're wrong, man. You're wrong," and I was like, "Oh, I'm okay to be wrong. It's simply just a matter of risk and reward, statistical likelihood of it actually happening." And it did take a while for it to happen, in all fairness. It took a couple of weeks, but it worked in the end. But it was only micro, it was only very small. And we could be looking at something like that right now. But this is a bullish chart. Golden cross, all the moving averages, all in the right place. And that's not really a chart that you'd want to bet against, because this is what charts should look like when uptrending. So I would be focused mostly on this moving into this major box. And again, even this box is quite low. Historically, this box is quite low. This is why I was making a song and dance about an alt season in the bear market, which people didn't like me saying. But it worked. This time round, you know, I think we're going to reach into that level and maybe even higher, because we have to be prepared for Bitcoin to move up, and for Bitcoin to move down, and for alts to move up, and for alts to move down. And if that's the case, we're going to see the dominance chart move up, whether it be pumping or dumping, because that's what happened in the last bull market. The last bull market started, really picked up pace in April 2019, and the dominance chart basically ran all the way up. But as we did do that, we did have a pop over here from a resistance to a major support and then back up again. So if we see something similar to that, we should be excited. We should also be mostly excited if we're holding on to a fair amount of Bitcoin, to which I always like to do. I've got a few Bitcoins across several exchanges that are simply just a matter of rotating. And again, yeah, if we do get a rotation, I wouldn't really hold out for anything more than about 20 to 50%, although we could obviously get higher. I said that over here. I said, look, anything between 10 and 50% should be the target. It ended up being between 100 and 200%, so it was pretty good. I wouldn't be looking for those sort of gains around here. I'll be looking just like Ethereum has shown us. Ethereum is offering about 20, maybe 30% at best. And if that's Ethereum, then maybe we could look at some other higher risk alts that'll yield anywhere from what 20 to I don't know 100% potentially. But that doesn't mean you should target the top target for absolutely everything that you've got. And we should wait for a reaction, to be honest, at this stage, because this is like you're looking to short, if anything, this dominance chart. That's in many ways what you're looking to do. You're looking to take a position at a resistance, and at the moment, the resistance has been smashed through for the moment. There's no breaking down at this very moment in time. We do have bearish divergence. We do have overheated money flow index, but this is a dominance chart, by the way. It isn't your average chart. It's a bullish chart, and to couple all of that, just to put it into more context about what it is that you should be thinking about when making these rotations, we do have a trend signal in the Ichimoku cloud. So what this means is that the signal was generated around here, around 41, about 43% dominance. This cross, the blue cross and the red above the cloud, GQ span above the price, and obviously the price above the cloud. So that is a trend signal. So this is what I mean. I expect this trend to continue up, which is good because we can then rotate from a higher level to make some really big gains when we get to those higher levels on the dominance chart. This is the game that we played in the last cycle. This is how, you know, we made the most of the market. This is probably how we're going to make the most out of this market again. It's how I generally like to play the market as a spot trader anyway. And these reads, even though they favor a bullish breakout for Bitcoin, as long as you've got a large Bitcoin position, to which I should always say, you know, if you're looking to trade spot, especially with Bitcoin, your Bitcoin position should take up a very large portion of your portfolio. You know, maybe 40% or even higher. So then you can always make those rotations. At the moment, my Bitcoin position is enormous. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is because I've got coins and balances across a multiple of exchanges, but if I had to put my finger on it, it would probably be closer to about 80% Bitcoin position, and that's that I've been in that for a long time anyway, but even more so now as we look for the dominance chart to reach much higher levels where we get much bigger rejections, where we make much bigger gains, much bigger gains. This was the ultimate, really. My average rotation from here down to where we started to pop, I mean, like I say, it was what dreams were made of, but I mean, just off the top of my head, I must have increased my Bitcoin positions across the table by at least 3,000%, so just put that into context. That's 1 Bitcoin into 30 Bitcoins, just from a rotation event from a high level, it was probably more than that, to be honest, but yeah, I mean, absolutely awesome stuff. And this is what dreams are made of. Dreams aren't made around here. This is snoozing dreams. These are daydreams. Real dreams may start from here, but I would much prefer to see us reach into the 50s and maybe even 60s. Obviously, the best thing would be to reach into the 70s. Can't rule it out, but I would be very surprised considering we stayed so low throughout the entire bear market. I think the interest in altcoins is only going to increase over time anyway. So I'll be very surprised to see the dominance chart reach up to 70s again, but you can only dream. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. It's a long video, but thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day. It's my daughter's birthday today. I appreciate their birthday wishes yesterday. I'd appreciate them again today. I think the algorithm appreciates it. They also appreciate likes at this stage in the video. And if you want to join the Patreon, there's links in the description below. I've got a Telegram and a Discord as well. And all the links for any exchange, for anything you could ever possibly want except FTX, is all in the description below. Anyway, have a nice day. Take it easy.